The Loop, Episode 1, Welcome to Ashwood. In this video, I will tell you a terrifying story that could happen to anyone. Imagine, you're driving down the highway, but suddenly the road loops back, returning you to where you started. A town that doesn't exist on any map. People who live there and can't leave. And when night falls, they come. Why can't anyone escape? Who knocks on the doors after sunset? And most importantly, what happens to those who break the rules? Watch until the end. The final part of this episode is truly chilling. Chapter 1. A road with no exit. We were driving at night. Old Highway 46 stretched through the forest, a narrow strip of asphalt surrounded by darkness. 2 more hours till home, I said, glancing at the GPS. My wife was dozing in the passenger seat. My brother sat in the back, scrolling through his phone. We were heading home after a family trip, and I just wanted to get to my bed as soon as possible. Suddenly, a deer leaped out from the woods. Damn! I yanked the steering wheel. The car skidded, brakes screeching. When we finally stopped, I looked around. The deer was gone. "Did you hit it?" my brother asked. "No, it just disappeared." I was breathing heavily, trying to calm down. The GPS glitched. The signal was gone. I didn't know that this moment would change everything. We kept driving. Another few miles passed, and then we saw the sign, "Welcome to Ashwood." The problem was, we had already passed that sign 10 minutes ago. Chapter 2. The Loop. What the hell? I checked the rearview mirror. The road behind us was gone, literally. It was just forest now. "Did we turn around?" my brother asked. "Number, I've been driving straight." I turned the car around and drove back the way we came. 5 minutes later, the sign appeared again. "Welcome to Ashwood." My breathing hitched. My wife opened her eyes. "Didn't we already pass this?" "Yes," she frowned. "But weren't we going the other way?" My brother looked out the window. "I don't like this." I turned the car around again. We drove for another 10 minutes. And ended up back in the same place. Ashwood wasn't letting us leave. Chapter 3. The town that doesn't exist. I turned off the engine. Only now did we really look at the town. It was a small place, the kind you'd drive past without a second thought. A cafe, a gas station, a few stores. But there was no one outside. Lights were on in the houses, but every window had thick curtains drawn shut. My brother checked his phone. No signal. I grabbed mine. Same thing. "Let's ask someone what's going on," my wife suggested. I didn't want to leave the car. There was something wrong about this place, but we had to figure out what was happening. I stepped out first. "Hey!" I called toward the nearest house. No response. Then a door creaked open. A man in his 50s stood in the doorway. He looked at us with fear. "Are you new?" I nodded. "You need to hide. It's almost night." And he slammed the door in our faces. Chapter 4. The First Warning. My wife squeezed my hand. "What the hell was that?" "I don't know," I said. My brother looked at the sky. The sun was already touching the horizon. Then another door opened. "Get inside, quickly." We turned toward the voice. A middle-aged woman was waving at us from her porch. "Come in if you want to live." I looked at my family. Despite my instincts screaming at me, we followed her. Inside, the house was normal. Cozy furniture, family pictures on the walls, but every window was sealed with wooden planks. "What's going on?" I asked. The woman looked tense. "You're in Ashwood. This place won't let you leave." "Why?" She looked at us like we were children who didn't understand something obvious. "Because they come at night." Chapter 5. They are coming. We wanted to ask more questions, but she was on edge. "The most important rule," she said, "don't go outside after sunset." "And if we do?" She looked at us with an expression that already knew the answer. "Then they will see you." We didn't know who they were, but we knew one thing. We didn't want to find out. Night fell over Ashwood. Then we heard it. Rustling. Then, footsteps. My wife grabbed my hand tightly. Something stopped right outside the door. And then, a quiet knock. My brother covered his mouth with his hand. "They know we're here," the woman whispered. The footsteps spread all across the town. We sat in the dark, afraid to make a sound, and outside something moved between the houses. They didn't bang on doors, they just searched, and after a while, the steps started to fade. But not completely. Someone stayed at our door, just standing there, waiting. And then, a whisper came from inside the house. "Let me in." Chapter 6. The End or the Beginning. I looked at the woman. She was pale as a sheet. "Who is that?" I whispered. "It's not a person." The whisper continued. "Let me in. I'm lost. Please." My wife covered her mouth, holding back a sob. We didn't open the door, and when morning came, there was nothing outside, only muddy, barefoot footprints leading into the shadows, and I realized one thing. We were trapped here, and tonight they would come again.